Hello, hello, welcome, little pumpkins. Welcome to Lugal's World. This might be going on the Patreon or wherever, so you can learn a little bit of astrology and see an example of what it would be like to get to book a session with us and get you a magical reading. So thanks for everyone who's here. We have Isaac and Alex. So tell us about this client here. What do they have going on?
This client is a person who goes by she, her pronouns, and they have a really interesting chart. So their sun is in Taurus in the sidereal zodiac, and their moon is in Cancer in the sidereal zodiac, and their ascendant is in Leo in the sidereal zodiac. Would you want me to explain any of that in more depth?
Let's explain about or just keep going. Let's go. Let's think about the specifics, but yeah, just keep going. Wherever stream of consciousness, both of you guys, chime in whenever.
Okay. So Isaac, you see the chart here, right? That I'm streaming.
Yes, indeed.
Okay. So that's 10th house is where I'm really interested in first, because even though the midheaven isn't really used in Jyotish, or some people like to call it Vedic Astrology, but the correct term is Jyotish, I would say that Sun and Mercury in the 10th is something that I would be looking at. Do you know why that is, Isaac?
That sort of reputation and career and prominence, and the fact that it's very close to one of the key fixed stars as well, would make it a very powerful placement, I'd imagine.
I agree, but the reason I was looking at it is because it rules the first house. That's why I wanted to start there.
Oh, yeah.
So the first house essentially is our appearance, our character, how we conduct ourselves on a daily basis. It's literally us in the flesh. So the nakshatra here and the sign here both are important. I know that most Jyotish astrologers or gurus that study Jyotish will say to look at the moon nakshatra only. I think the sun, moon, and ascendant nakshatra are all very important. I think literally any nakshatra in the chart is important, which is anything from the 7 inner planets: Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Rahu, Ketu, or the North Node and the South Node, and the ascendant. So that makes around 10 nakshatras or less that are very prominent in your chart. But I'd say the 3 most prominent are the Sun, Moon, and ascendant nakshatras. The sign and nakshatra that this person's ascendant is going to determine how or in what way they're going to act or present themselves or just be in general throughout their lives. The sun is the soul, and it's the quality of the soul. Is the person righteous in character or conduct? Are they very strong-willed? Are they a person with a lot of vitality or inner strength? Or are they a person that has a lot of character flaws? Someone who might be cowardly, fearful, anxious, someone who has self-esteem issues. Those are all different issues that could be associated with the sun. Or with the moon specifically, it's our mind, our emotions, our creativity, our ability to understand how we think or feel about the world around us. These are all different things that could happen.
Oh, and I just realized, speaking of the moon, she has a Regulus moon, right? Or is it too far away?
Too far away.
Oh.
But she's close. Give her a little bit of time and she'll be there. That's what I would say. But
what does that mean, give her a little time? Do you mean in this lifetime, or do you mean a few lifetimes?
If she was born an hour after, actually let me think. She's born 3 or 4 hours after, then she'd probably be a Regulus moon.
Yeah.
That's when that conjunction would have started, but it's too far away. It's also in a nakshatra, Ashlesha, where Regulus is not found, and the nakshatras are based around the stars, and specifically the fixed stars, if you're to look at it through a Western viewpoint.
Yep.
But I noticed what you were noticing with the Sun conjunct to Aldebaran, Isaac.
Yes.
That's actually a very prominent conjunction. That's because those four fixed stars are in sidereal Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. So Aldebaran, Regulus, Antares, and Deneb Al-Jedi. All those fixed stars are all very prominent in terms of how life works as a whole. It's those four sidereal zodiac signs are like the building blocks of life as we know it, and they're sort of like the pillars of where we can gain a lot through this lifetime, or we could lose a. So with how do I say, with the sun though being the lord of or ruler of the first house, it would mean that she'd be very comfortable in the spotlight. She would love being admired for her work, her aptitude for doing various tasks. She'd be well regarded as a person that is respected and admired by people in society. I would say that she is a very confident, bold person, but she's also very sensual, serene, charming, witty, and bright. Also, those are some key descriptors I would say that I would use to describe this client.
Yeah, well, Rohini, it's sort of considered the most fortunate or the most favored nakshatra, isn't it? You know, it's the most. It's the.
Where does
the
she
light.
have that? Where does she have
Sun.
that nakshatra?
The sun,
So,
Mercury.
yeah. So
Oh, that's Aldebaran. Rohini is Aldebaran.
Yes, it is. Yeah. So it's essentially the most favored wife of Chandra in the mythology of the nakshatras or the lunar mansions. And so I'd imagine, this reputation for being, as Alex said, just very, very sensual, but very attractive and very.
At the tarot reading place, at the place that I was reading, she was literally my favorite out of everyone there, and I didn't know anything about her. Like, she just radiated with a kind of charisma that no one else had that made me instantly like her more than everyone there. Like, literally. Yeah. And she's from North Dakota. Isn't that interesting?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well,
no one lives in North Dakota, Isaac. It's so weird. Like, barely anyone lives there.
Nice. Well, just to build
It's
on
like
what
the
Alex.
least populated. It's like one of the. I think it's like the least populated state is like South and North Dakota, are the least populated states in the United States.
Yeah. Well, so just building on what Alex said. So you've got Rohini. This is her reputation. How she's most visible is sun. Warmth, soul, in the most favored nakshatra, which is to do with Rohini's got this aspect of like fertility and abundance and procreation, all these things linked to it. But then having Purva Falguni rising, so her ascendant is 1 degree conjunct.
Wait, what's that planet called?
Hold on, and so 1 degree conjunct Zosma, so that's the fixed star, which is sort of in the middle of Leo, which is associated again. So it's a very sexual nakshatra, but very a lot of vital energy. Wants to engage with the world and sort of seek thrills and follow passions. So if you can combine the sun placement at the midheaven with her rising sign in Purva Falguni, it's just an incredibly sensual, even sexual, passionate, thrilling personality. That's what I sort of see come through straight away there.
How do you spell the Zosma one in Vedic? Falguni?
Purva Falguni.
Yeah.
How do you spell that?
Purva. That's one word.
Okay, Purba.
Falguni. Phalgun.
Gun. Yes, so the Zosma gives her the fun, thrilling, life-seeking energy, you're saying?
I would also say that Rohini can also be thrilling and life-seeking, but they would do it with a partner or someone that they're close to or they have a specific type of bond with, since Rohini is associated with the lunar mansion that was favored by Chandra, the moon god.
Yeah, love it. Yeah, definitely.
Isn't Zosma also like astrology or like?
Yeah,
is it?
yeah. I've heard of it. Yeah, it's one of the particularly the Leo fixed stars are often associated with astrology in I think like ancient Babylonian astrology, I believe.
And then she has Zosma. You said where?
1 degree from her ascendant.
That marks the beginning of Falguni Nakshatra.
Okay.
Just see something.
Okay, what is there any other major fixed stars? So we have Rohini, we have Zosma. Has she got any other stars, major ones going on?
Does she have Alpheka with Jupiter?
Let's have a look. Where's Jupiter?
Svati Nakshatra.
Could be, yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah, right at the end of Virgo Libra there, isn't it? I mean, she's in a generation where Pluto was basically exactly conjunct Spica. So that's a generational conjunction, but that's also a very prominent energy that was going on, and her Pluto is at the apex of a kite formation. So you can see, if you look at the aspect, she has an incredible grand trine between the moon, Venus, and Neptune, which is just like feminine spirituality, receptive. That's an amazing. Leaving aside everything else, you've got moon, Venus, Neptune in a trine across the 12th, 8th, and 4th houses. So they're the four. They're the three water houses, you might say. So that's a remarkably free-flowing, emotionally receptive, spiritual alignment there. And then with the moon in the 12th house in Ashlesha, as Alex said, that's like mystical as fuck. Almost, I'd say.
It's beyond mystical, honestly.
Yeah.
Wait, and what's that called? Wait. How do I spell that? The nakshatra of the 12th house?
ASH.
ASH.
LESHA.
LESHA.
Ashlesha is all one word.
Ashlesha. Why is this mystical beyond belief? And you said the 12th, 8th, and what house?
It's in the 12th house. Remember I said that she went through a lot of...
No, Isaac, you said 3 different houses.
Yeah, okay, so before that goes on, so she has a grand trine between Neptune in the 4th house, Venus in the 8th house, and Moon in the 12th house. So they're essentially the 3 like water houses, you might say, linked to Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. And then and then if you sort of take the moon as the most powerful part of that trine, having that in Ashlesha, so the deities of Ashlesha are serpent. They're serpent deities, because it's sort of right near the head of the Hydra constellation. That's the marker for it that the Vedics had. And so anytime you see serpents or serpentine energy, it's very mystical, to do with medicine, to do with spirituality, but this mystical, also like this idea of being entangled, this sort of serpentine energy that comes through. And so entanglement is a key word for Ashlesha. It can be romantic entanglement, or it can be like spiritual entanglement, like getting very much caught up in the mystical workings of this world.
Mm-hmm.
The mystical, what do you mean of this world? Why did you distinguish it as this world?
of this world. As in just like living this life in this world, the idea of spiritual or sexual or romantic entanglement, becoming very involved in worldly affairs in a very magical way. It can you create. I don't know. Alex can maybe expand on this, but Ashlesha does create
like a lot of synchronicities. Like you're entangled in this world, but there's a lot of synchronicities and miracles and magic happening. Is that it?
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
part. But Ashlesha is one of the darkest nakshatras also. It's so each nakshatra, from the first nakshatra to the 27th nakshatra, all represents a stage of life that we're going through. So with Ashlesha, it is like represented by the time of like 17 to like 18, where you come to a lot of realizations of this world, and you'll go through a lot of harsh relationships with other people, and you have to essentially lose yourself throughout this process in life in order to gain a greater understanding of who you are. Because
that was the I Ching. That's so crazy, because the I Ching was about ego death, like you're losing your I, and that was about her entire life. Was exactly what you just described from the I Ching reading that I gave her.
That's Ashlesha. So all Mercury and Ketu ruled nakshatras are associated with that quote unquote ego death. I'm not crazy about the word ego death, but I think that it's applicable in this type of chart. So reason why it's like considered like in like why Mercury and Ketu ruled nakshatras are associated with like ego death, quote unquote, is because they're both Mercury and Ketu ruled nakshatras are associated with developing an identity or a greater understanding of the self. So when you understand yourself to that level of depth, you have that insight, you will project what you think or feel about different things onto the world around you, and you're essentially so fixated or obsessed with your sense of self that you essentially lose yourself, because the self is inherently defined as any specific way, and that's the greatest illusion that all humans will have to go through, because some people get so fixated on who or what they are that they lose themselves within that perceived identity. And it happens in different ways between the Mercury ruled nakshatras and the Ketu ruled nakshatras. With the Mercury ruled nakshatras, they essentially all start out with having a understanding of the world, and since they have such a black and white understanding of the world, since Mercury is a neutral planet, it can be twisted into a malefic or a benefic very easily. Their perception of world can be either really bright, happy, or great, or dark, decrepit, and horrific. It can really go any way. The Mercury and Ketu ruled nakshatras are prone to very large extremes in terms of understanding the world, and it can be very black and white in terms of their understanding of the world, and they can be very fixated on themselves and how they see the world around them, and they can get very, very deeply emotionally hurt and resentful, because since Mercury is a neutral planet and it can easily be made to think, the native can easily be made to think or be tricked into thinking very, very greatly or very poorly of anything in their life, even including themselves. And this can create a very unstable self, more or less, or very unstable understanding of themselves. This type of understanding can cause them to be tricked or being manipulated or lied to, and that type of manipulation leads them down very dark paths where they have to again find themselves. So the reason why it was like Jesus Christ that moon is because when you get to the end of a Mercury ruled nakshatra or the beginning of a Ketu ruled nakshatra, that's a placement where there's a lot of harsh truths that native is coming to terms with. This is known as it's known by a specific dosha and Jyotish known as Gandamul. So
what's a dosha?
Okay, a dosha is specifically a negative placement in a chart that causes harm to the native. So having your moon in a Mercury or Ketu ruled nakshatra, so Ashlesha, Magha, Jesha, Mula, Revati, and Ashwini, that would be considered Gandamul dosha, or Gandamul dosha, excuse me. The thing though is that just because your moon or nakshatra is in that dosha doesn't mean that like you're inherently going to be a bad person. That's not what that's going to mean at all.
Is this like exaltation or declination, or
no? This is something totally different. This is like you could say that a dosha or a yoga, it could mean that it could refer to a rotated planet, but
Isaac, have you heard of the doshas?
Yes, I've heard of them, but I've never. Alex is explaining it far better than I could, for sure.
Wait, what? I don't understand what the doshas are still.
The doshas are just essentially any sort of negative placement or a placement that causes harm to the native in some way, shape, or form, or at its base level. So having your moon in those 6 nakshatras can cause a lot of harm to the native because
how do I find out the doshas?
You'd have to. There's like thousands of yogas. There's like thousands upon thousands. You would never be able to know all of them. The best thing to do is to be using astrology software to go through it. This site
I find the doshas.
What
website do I find the doshas?
I would use astrology software. Use Jagannatha Aura would be your best bet since it's free. If you wanted to use paid software, I can.
Wait, can you say the website name that's free?
You have to spell it. It's long.
Yeah. Yes, please spell it.
It's JAGANNATHA. That's all one word. Aura. HORA.
Excellent. .com?
Just Google that. You'll be able to find the software and you can download it on your computer free, because I'd rather give you free software that's pretty
Perfect.
good. You could Deva.guru is okay too, but like I would pay for the full version, which I don't want to make you pay for stuff, so we're just.
How much is it?
I think it's like, I don't remember actually. I think it's like $9.99, but I could be wrong about that.
Okay, thank you. Beautiful. Yeah, continue talking about her chart.
Okay, sure. Just that when it's at the very, very, very end of a Mercurial nakshatra, at the very, very beginning of a Ketu nakshatra, right at that intersection, that's when where it gets mystical as hell. And someone who has their moon there is going to go through a lot of things. A lot of things. This is a very dark nakshatra too, so it's going to be harsher in nature, especially since it's in a very harsh house, and it's specifically in the 12th house actually. So that's the house where you essentially lose yourself or your identity. Remember when I said that the Mercurial nakshatras as a whole can be very fixated on their identity and who they are and be overly attached to it, because they can be very easily misled or manipulated by their environment or others around them to thinking certain things about themselves that they think are true but isn't. Remember when I said that earlier? So she's going to be very, very, very fixated on having this like certain identity. And I can go into like what that would be from the nakshatras and other stuff.
What do you mean the Mercury's with K2? I don't see. I'm looking at the south node.
Oh, no. It's Mercury ruled and Ketu ruled nakshatras. Not that she has Mercury with Ketu in her chart. Nakshatras are very different than just the placements themselves.
So in the traditional way that they arrange the nakshatras, each one has a ruling planet. It's a bit different than the normal like tropical system rulerships for the signs, but so there's a certain characteristic that each nakshatra has based on the assigned ruling planet.
No, he's right. The reason why it's such a profound placement is that she's more so than the average person going to be very fixated on having a very specific set identity, which again was caused not just by her own understanding, but from her environment and from people around her. And she was probably misled into thinking and believing a lot of things about herself that she believed that were true and that she attached herself to, but were not true. And she essentially is very, 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 very fixated on knowing all these different things or having this set identity. And there's a lot of different harsh or even cruel events in her life that have caused her to identify with this specific with a very specific side of herself. But then the 12th.
Yeah, it's like, Alex, I was thinking what you just said, but then with the moon in the 12th house, often planets in the 12th house are hidden, or they're elusive, or they're hard to. So it's almost like that adds to the sense that she can't actually find or see what her identity is. So it's like she's constantly searching for it because it's in the 12th house. So it's almost like it's not there. Would you agree with that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like you're hitting the nail on the head. So with that moon towards the very end of that nakshatra, it's almost like this chart is just one massive ego death, where she is so hyper fixated on knowing herself that she essentially loses herself within herself, but then is able to gain a lot of herself from losing that self, and she's able to get a great understanding of the self. It's extremely paradoxical, and her fixation on the self is just very, 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 very extreme. That's how.
Wow.
So like, this is a very intense chart, like way more intense than the average human.
Is it more intense than mine? How more?
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, this is more intense than you.
Wow, amazing.
Yeah. It's super intense, but the level of harmony and flowing energy with that trine, and then with Pluto making it into a kite formation, the potential to channel that ego death energy, that mysticism, into some sort of creative potential is immense because of that harmony that's there. But it's just what form does that take with all that intensity of that moon placement is sort of what I'm trying to get my head.
Alex, okay, answer Isaac's statement. How does she channel that? Because I'm gonna definitely like tell her these things. So what area of life is she gonna channel that energies? And number 2, does the kite mean anything? Does that have an actual meaning?
I'd say the kite has a meaning, but I'd rather touch on I feel like an aspect configuration like that is less important than a nakshatra. Nakshatra essentially determines the scope of their life. The kite will just show in what ways their life is going to be affected by how specific planets are interacting with each other. That's like a detail. So with that moon, I would say that I don't like saying this about people, but I would say she'd be more so be very focused on trying to have a very specific type of image or status from. We're not even looking at divisional charts, by the way. We're just going to be looking at the D1 or the divisional 1 chart, or the Rashi chart. This is the base chart of her, all of her divisional charts. She'd be probably be very focused on her, how she's perceived by others. She'd be very focused on her image. And what I was saying before was like, I don't like saying
that this is because of the moon. This is because of the moon.
Partially, I'm going to get to that. So the reason why she's going to be so image oriented already is just with that sun ruling the first house, but then Ashlesha can also be a very image oriented nakshatra. Like Rohini, Ashlesha, and Prabha Falguni, those 3 nakshatras are for big 3. They can all be very image oriented or status oriented, but she'd be very neurotic at essentially upholding that status, like you would see from the Rohini sun. And she'd be doing everything she could in her power or her being to uphold this specific image that she wants other people to see her by. And it's a very deep-seated neuroticism that she has to be forced to let go in her lifetime. And she will be able to. She has the strength of character to do so. With Sun being in the 10th, it would show a very strong character. And Sun is... it's actually, that makes it worse. So, in the D9, Sun and Ascendant are in the same sign.
By the way, what does D9 mean?
Navamsa, or the divisional 9 chart. It is the chart of essentially marriage and dharma. So I'd also say
you
relationship.
Put that on the screen. The D9.
Sure. But
I definitely want the images for the class here.
Okay, so the D9 right here.
Wait. Are you showing it?
Yeah.
Okay. Excellent. Do you use the D's, Isaac?
No, I'm not at that stage yet. I'm learning as well as we're going through this.
Oh, beautiful. I love this, Isaac. We're all getting... Thank you. Alex, you're tremendous. I can't wait to have you part of our business when we make more money.
Mm-hmm.
Continue.
Wait, Google, can I ask you something about the business?
Absolutely.
Okay, so are all the people in that server going to be part of the business?
Which server?
The Anthroposophy server where we were talking about Rudolf Steiner's work.
Oh, you're talking about Lugal's World? No, Lugal's World is like, that's like my personal, it's kind of like my personal, like these are my friends and this is just kind of a personal thing. When I have more money and more, like if we get more established with a business, you and I, Alex, I will add you to the special business server eventually that Isaac and Sun and Barbara, like my team, is on. So as we continue to collaborate, I might add you to that one. Alex, you know what I'll do? I'll add you to the astrology. I want to make a Patreon astrology server.
Yes, that sounds good.
And so I'm going to add you to that one, and it's a place where we can teach people. You can put step by step how they can do astrology, like the D9, and we put our research there so everyone can like learn and step by steps, and that'll be like available to the people that pay for the subscription to our Patreon, and they get access to like learn astrology too. So I'm going to add you right now. So there you are. That's our astrology server. I'm going to change the name of it real quick. So it's going to be changed to Lugal Astrology. Astrology. I'll put Lugal Astrology and Divination just in case we split our branches.
Nice.
Yeah, because I might want to teach I Ching or whatever.
Yeah, nice.
Beautiful. Yeah, so I might put a link to this video and I'm writing down what y'all are saying there. So we're on to the D9.
Well, I just wanted to explain an aspect of the D9 and how it affects the Magha Nakshatra.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
So, I'm not saying that like, I'm not saying that like there's a direct impact, but I know how she'd have this fixed sense of self and where that would come from the D9. Yeah. That's what I wanted to emphasize. So that would come from the sun also being in Taurus, and the sun also being in Leo and D9. So, Isaac, I was going to ask you something. Do you know about the conditions of Vargatama and Pushkar or Pushkara Navamsa? In
No.
okay. So planets placed in the same sign in D1 or D9, or placed in special Navamsas in D1 or D9, are given a special type of strength, which essentially, even if the planet is weak there, it will get better over time pretty quickly. Planets that are also very strong in Pushkar and Vargatama or Vargatama Navamsas, or Vargatama in divisional charts, they would also be given a lot of strength too. So Vargatama means it's in the same chart as the D1 as in specific divisional charts. I've seen the term Vargatama be used regarding D3, D9, and D10. It might be used with other divisional charts, but I have not seen that from my research and from talking to other Jyotish astrologers. I've personally just mainly seen it used in conjunction or in reference to the D9. But that's just from what I've studied or what I've talked to people about. Specifically being here is Vargatama and I think Pushkar. So both the Ascendant and Sun are Vargatama in D1 and D9, but Sun is in a specific position where there's a lot of beneficial strength or fortitude of this Sun being here that gives it the power to do very well, and it is very strong in this position.
This is talking about with marriages.
It's not just marriages, but it could also be the dharma that one does, or the good that one does within their life, or the potential good that one is able to give or be able to have within their lifetime. This could also be associated with the talents of the person. Specifically, planets and trines in D9 are indicative of the skills or the talents the native has. And these talents or skills can be able to benefit not only the native's life, but the lives of others around them. So that incorporates the concept of dharma in Jyotish. It's also a very spiritual chart because when you are married to someone, it's not just a legally binding contract. You're bound, your soul or you as an individual are bound to another person. So the Venus is important because it deals with partnerships, spouses, relationships, but also Jupiter is actually a prominent planet in this house because not just house, just chart, because Jupiter is the contract itself. It's the marriage itself. It's how one binds themselves to another person, and how one can reap the big fortune or the different financial assets that both people will share within the relationship. The Sun is how one is the quality of the soul, and how one can reap the quality of the soul, or how they're going to be able to demonstrate their courage or their inner strength within this lifetime. Moon is just going to be showing how the mind operates or works in conjunction with the world around them, or with people that they want to get near or get close to within a partnership or a relationship. So it's not with the D9, it's not just with the spouse or the relationship, the partner, etc. It's also how one deals with the different changes that can happen within their life, and how one is affected by their environment for better or worse. Does that make sense?
Yes. And Isaac, does that $150 software have all this Vedic stuff?
No, it's not really a Vedic thing. I downloaded a Vedic software called Sri Jyoti Star for that sort of stuff. I haven't really used it much yet. All this stuff is, I'd like to get it into the future, but I'm still learning at this stuff at the moment.
Yeah, continue.
Okay.
Yeah, tell me some useful stuff for her that I can give her. What's going to be the most useful? Right now?
I would say from chart.
She's in a situation in her life where she's like, I think a marriage or something like fell through, or like something really traumatic happened recently. She was in tears. So like, what's the? Can we look into that? Like, when is it gonna like look better? Like, why is she getting fucked over right now? Like,
I'm just gonna check the trade for April. When did their marriage happen? Wait, not marriage.
Don't know.
You know, do you know when the marriage?
She was crying like last night or the night before last. So something was happening recently. I don't know how recent though. I think it's within the season because she wouldn't be crying about it randomly. So
when did the marriage dissolve?
don't know.
Okay. I don't want to speak negatively about one's relationship, but Saturn here is not really strong. Saturn in Virgo isn't necessarily weak, but Saturn is ruling the 6th and the 7th, and it's in the 2nd.
I need to go to the bathroom like right now. I'll be back really quick.
Okay.
Sorry.
I'll wait.
Can we all take a break, like a few minutes or something?
Okay.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. I might just look at your transits as well. Whatever chance.
Do you mind if I mention anything that I find interesting regarding the transits, Isaac?
For sure, yeah. I mean, because I'm having a look now. So Jupiter Uranus is within a few degrees of her natal Chiron. Do you use Chiron in your readings at all?
I don't usually use any of the outer planets or Chiron because it doesn't really affect the reading that much. I do believe that you can use Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, and Chiron in astrology. I don't see a reason why not to. I've seen it work. It's just it's very like minor compared to like a nakshatra or like the Lagna Lord. Like that's very big. That colors like everything.
Sure. Yeah, interesting. Yeah. So I'm just looking now. So the eclipse happened in her 8th house.
Oh yeah. There was another eclipse that happened even before then that would have happened in her first and was it? No, it would have been her 2nd and 8th house. That could be bad because Saturn's in the 2nd.
That last lunar eclipse would have been right over her Saturn, wouldn't it?
Well, the lunar eclipse, yes, and then the solar eclipse would have been in the 8th. Ketu is with Saturn right now. And
you're right. I mean that's rough. Yeah,
because Saturn rules the 7th and the D1, and then when you go into the D9, I'm gonna go back to your chart. It also rules the 7th in that chart, and then Saturn is in really weak condition, D9. Saturn is in any sign in Cancer in the 12th, so it would mean that she would lose a marriage or a partnership that she holds very dearly to herself, and she's a very, very passionate and enthusiastic and caring lover. So that would be a very, very big hit to her.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, I just need to go to the toilet as well while we're having a break, so I'll be back.
Okay.
Cool. right, I'm back.
Hello. I'll finish explaining to you.
Yeah, I'm learning heaps from you doing this as well.
Yeah, let me see the dashas for her. Yeah, I'm not trying to be rude, but her chart is really harsh. I'm not saying that, like, her life is just gonna be, like, miserable forever. I'm not saying at all, but she will have to go through way more harsh stuff than the average human.
Yeah.
She's going through a bad dasha right now, actually, or Magha Nakshatra right now. Moon's in Ashlation the 12th, and then in D9, Moon is in the 8th. You can do predictions from dashas, from just the D1 and D9. You can use other divisional charts if you really need to. It's not like you can't use them, but like preferably just D1 and D9 is really all you need. You don't need like D60 or D30 or anything like that. It could be helpful, but it's not necessarily needed. I just say literally just use D1 or D9.
Okay, cool.
Because like the basics are just actually just pretty good enough as it is. So Moon in D9, I'll show this again, is in the 8th in Pisces. It's the 12th Lord. Yeah. If anything's gonna go bad now, it's gonna go bad during Moon Mahadasha, because Moon is really badly placed in this chart. And this is just gonna be a very tough set of ages for 10 years, where she will be tested and she will
Okay, I'm back. So how long is this shit season? When did it start, and how long is this lasting?
With the marriage, so she's going through, I'm looking at the dashas right now. I think Lahiri's fine. I don't have an issue with Lahiri. It depends on, I would say, different latitudes do affect the way that the Ainamsha will work. I use Lahiri with like people who are born in the northern hemisphere anyway. It doesn't really matter. So she's going through Moon Mahadasha, Venus Antardasha. Moon is not well placed. Venus is not terribly placed, in my opinion. Her Venus is actually decent, but this is a period where she's going to be very ambitious. The third house is the house of effort, or the effort you will put into things. So she's naturally a very ambitious person in terms of career and just overall her life. She wants to learn a lot of different things in life. She's probably a college educated person, I would assume. Just like a D24 just to make sure I'm not wrong. Yeah, she's probably college educated. I don't know. I'm not experienced enough with D24 to know to like what degree. I don't know if she got her master's, her graduate, her doctorate. I don't know. That's something I'm not able to do yet. But I do know that she's gone to college at the very least. She's probably graduated too. She is actually fortunate in career though. Like she probably is the person that would have a successful career. It would definitely have its ups and downs, don't get me wrong, but like she will have the luck that is needed to be able to create a life for herself that she wants. But even though she's very ambitious, naturally as a person, and can be lustful, not just like in romantic relationships or like sexual or sensual pleasures, but she's lustful for life and life's experiences, and she's always going to want another challenge that she's going to be able to conquer or rise above.
What's her 7 deadly sin?
Good question.
Like pride or
pride, definitely pride. I was about to
And,
say cry.
what advice would you give her? And okay, when did the shit season start and when's it ending?
If I were to take a guess, just Moon Mahadasha as a whole is just not great. So Moon is really badly placed in her D1 and D9. So it's 12th house in D1 in its own sign. Just because it's its own sign doesn't mean it's inherently good. She has to be in tune with her emotions somewhat in order to survive, which again, she does that. She's, I think, very
Wait, so this is the shit season started August 14th, 2015 and ends 25?
in August 14th, 2025, around 10 years of just like harsher stuff. There are other dashas you can use with charts. I'm only experienced with Vimshatari. I'm just going to be using Vimshatari. I'm not against using any dasha system. I've seen people make any dasha system work. I don't know how. I don't have the knowledge or expertise to be able to do that, but I know you can.
What should I tell her about this decade?
Probably one of the toughest decades of her life. Like, Sun was probably not bad for her. Was maybe like she might have had some like self-esteem issues, but she learned to work through those, and she questioned or doubted her self-worth probably on and off throughout her life. This is where she's going to be doubting her self-worth after most, and she's going to really have to question or challenge that, and she's going to have to really pull through and find herself, because it's funny because like most people find themselves like sometimes in their 20s, 30s. She's going to find herself into like her 40s with Moon Mahadasha.
Wow.
Like Moon Mahadasha is just literally finding herself and figuring out what you want or what you desire, because the moon deals with what you want and what you desire, and internally who or what you are.
Alex, could we look at mine real quick, or would that take too long?
That would take a little time. Is that okay?
Yeah, we can focus on hers then.
Mm-hmm. I'd rather this be more fluid, so you can send her the video.
Sure.
Okay, so it's just though these 10 years are really going to challenge her, and same with Mars, because she has Mars Mahadasha after. Mars is weak in D1 in the second, and then Mars is not well placed in the D9. It's in the 8th, and she might have like a health issue or like a health scare, or she might experience her family members dying, or she might just experience a lot of death as a whole. I don't know. She could have also experienced some death during Moon Mahadasha because of Moon's placement in the 8th. But Moon's too strongly placed by sign in D1 for it to have like too negative of an impact. But Mars is weak though. I'd be scared of her getting gravely ill or dying. That would be my concern.
When?
During Mars Mahadasha.
Do you mean January 11th, 2030 or 2032?
It'd be, look at the blue line where it says age, Mars, and then it says the dates. The dates of the Mahadasha would be when that period would last, or when it would happen. She would not.
Wait, she might die between August 14th, 2025 and August 14th, 2032?
It's a possibility. I'm not going to say she is. I would never say that. But it would be like a lot of health issues and health scares.
What year is she coming out of the shit season?
So I'm not going to be rude. I don't want to be rude to this person, but they have a really harsh chart. Like way more harsh than the average person.
Is that also true with her blessings?
She does have blessings with like career status, and stuff like that.
Is it equal? Is her blessings equal to her curses, or is it her curses more intense than her?
Her curses are way more intense, I'm gonna be honest.
Oh, wow. Is she a bad person? Like, morally?
I don't necessarily think so. She could have been a bad person in her childhood or teens, but when she went to Sun Mahadasha, that probably would have stopped a lot. She might have done things out of pure vanity or being catty, mean, dramatic, maybe emotionally manipulative a bit. Those are all like negative manifestations of people with prominent purple Falguni or even Rohini placements. I could even see that with the Shlesha too, all in different ways. But like, there would have. So
this is not like an evil chart. This is not like Karl Marx or something.
No, not something I would say. But like, she's definitely done some crueler or immoral things than the average person, because she was forced into extremely harsh life situations or scenarios where she had her mind and fortitude of character tested. She may have made wrong decisions, and then she would have had to pay for what she did. But at the same time, it's made her a stronger person. Where's Rahu in her chart again? I just forgot.
Isaac, what do you see anything with her chart? I'm curious what Isaac thinks.
So for I guess I have a different, a more simplistic way of going about it than Alex does. So all the Nakshatras, I completely agree with his interpretations. I mean, just her transits at the moment are very full on. So I can see a lot of the things that Alex is saying just by looking at where the transiting outer planets are. So she has Pluto squaring her Jupiter, and a lot of basically every transiting outer planets hitting one of her personal planets in a pretty full-on way. So the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction is right over her natal Chiron and also squaring her natal moon. And we just talked about what her moon, you know, the sort of the difficulties of that moon placement. And so right now she's got that Jupiter-Uranus conjunction squaring her moon to within, where is it? Within a few degrees. So that's adding an extra challenge to that placement. And then the South Node's right over, basically on the degree of her natal Saturn, which is, not great and very difficult. And me and Alex were just talking about that a bit before. And then Neptune, she's got a Neptune square at the moment. And she's got Saturn and Neptune both transiting her 7th house. So that's relationship tests and just dissolution. Like Neptune in the 7th house is often sort of dissolution of relationships. And then Saturn is sort of trials and difficulties in the realm of relationships. So I can see the relationship break up just like right there with those 7th house transits, and sort of squaring her natal Neptune just adds to that sense. What else is going on? So all the outer planets are hitting her natal planets at the moment in pretty full-on ways. So Pluto squaring her natal Jupiter, Pluto's trining her natal Mars. There's just a lot going on there at the moment. That would be how I would generally summarize what she's got going on at the moment.
Isaac, can I ask you something?
Yes.
Do you think I go about this in a more complicated or thorough way?
100%. Duh. Yeah.
If I'm a little.
Yeah.
Sorry, what were you saying?
Yeah, Isaac, what do you think?
Well, because I'm fairly new to astrology. I've completely immersed myself in it, but I just do it from a very strictly archetypal perspective. So and that's why I find the the sort of the divisional charts and that sort of stuff very interesting, but it's more into the future for me where I'm going. So I can't really comment. I mean, it does. I've listened to a fair bit of Jyotish / Vedic stuff, and people talking about this stuff. It goes over my head at the moment. So it's not like it's too complicated. I'm sure it's sort of necessary. Excuse me. It's necessary information, but it can, for someone who doesn't understand what these concepts, these sort of Jyotish concepts mean, it might seem a bit overcomplicated.
And Alex is the one who got me into Vedic astrology and ancient astrology.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I mean, I can feel. I mean, I've learnt just me. I mean, I've learnt heaps today already, and it sort of wants me to keep pursuing Jyotish in more detail. Yeah, I mean, I can't really.
And you thought you were just teaching me, Isaac? Isn't that funny?
Yeah. And to Isaac and Colin, if I'm making this a little too complicated, like, let me know, because I don't want to make it too complicated.
No, I like it. We're teaching Isaac. It's all good. Because Isaac will teach me, like, too. So we're all teaching each other. It's a teaching circle.
I mean, just like, so like when, like personally where I'm at in astrology, things like, you know, curses or blessings or, you know, will this person be, you know, evil or do evil things? I don't actually even sort of I'm not able to bring those things into how I use astrology. My astrology is just, this is the archetype you're experiencing at the moment. It's going to be difficult in these ways, or it's going to be very helpful in these ways, essentially, as far as I get. And so I try and use it in a practical sense, drawing out the archetypes and saying these are your most positive archetypes at the moment, or where you can really focus to try and move forward or to offset, you know, the difficulties that you have in your life. So I just try and keep it very simple, and it can be overly simplistic sometimes as well. And the more I'm starting to do more readings for people, I'm sort of starting to see where I actually need to bring in more depth of my understanding just beyond the basic interactions between the archetypes. So yeah. And so like with Alex was saying before, so I use the outer planets and Chiron more than he does. So that's also a key thing. And that's also part of the Jyotish thing as well, because they just use the traditional planets. And then by not bringing in the outer planets, you can go into more detail into other areas as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, anything else for her?
I could say a lot. I could read a chart for hours. So.
Yeah, because I need to go and do a few other things. But I feel like, I think we all, that was really interesting. I thought we explored heaps there. It was really...
Are we sure we don't have time for Trump's chart and cover the first nakshatra? Or maybe I'll just have... Yeah, can we just do that shortly right now?
Yeah, well, are you up for that? Alex, do you want to have a go at that?
Sure.
I'll stop recording now. Thanks to everyone who watched. We really appreciate you. We appreciate you subscribing to our Patreon and booking some readings. We'd really appreciate that. Have a magical, mystical day.